The last thing is this. Again, we have that intersection of our lives and our work. And so we just have to do our best. And this is where you have to negotiate with your family. And it may not always be possible because things are going to happen. This was a guy on national television giving some really important international briefing. And all of a sudden, and it looks like we're in his office. Although if you take a look at it off his left shoulder, we see that that's actually a bed. So he's made an office and a bedroom, but look what he did there. He put books on the bed so that it didn't look so much like a bed. I never caught that until someone pointed it out to me. So that was a really good workaround if that was the only space he had. Now notice there's a map hanging on the back wall, which I'm guessing could have family photos underneath it because it's a bedroom. But in the middle of his report, his young daughter came running through and then his wife came scurrying in. The problem is that he was so embarrassed that he practically fell apart. He got so visibly nervous and he tried to ignore it. If that happens, what should you do? If something like this happens, what's the best thing to do? Help me out here. Let's talk about that. What's the best thing to do if suddenly your dog starts barking or go with it, embrace it, be real, acknowledge it. Yep, you're absolutely right. Don't ignore it, address it. All right. Now it's not just move on, but what you want to do is acknowledge it. This one's going to be a little more challenging to acknowledge. This is a hilarious video that ran around on the internet. She's on this amazing conversation, but here she is in her bedroom. That's her bathroom vanity in the background. And suddenly her husband comes in his underwear and starts having this conversation. We don't want that to happen. Yeah, I would die too, Michelle. Yeah, that would be really embarrassing. So you just want to be really careful about that. Okay. So what do you do if that happens? Your job here is to just address it. Here's the great thing, people. We're in such an interesting, radically unique time. And there's the blessing of that, if there is one, and there's many blessings if we look for them in the midst of this, but is that there's a lot of grace. And what I mean by that is the person you're talking to, you may consider them a really important person. Guess what? They're working on dogs barking in the background and children that could come through, and they're trying to homeschool their children, and they're figuring out all the same things that you're having to figure out. This has been the great equalizer, and it has brought great grace and compassion into our conversations. And the best thing you can do is bring that in yourself. So if something like that happens, you just got to, if you're introducing yourself and suddenly your dog jumps into your lap, you go, well, now that you've met me, I'd also like you to meet Skippy here, right? And your job is just to play with it. And if you have to say, excuse me, I'll be right back, and put Skippy back out the door and close the door, it's better to do that than to try to act like Skippy's not there, because Skippy will not let you do that.